back now, and this is the final video of Plok. And yes, despite being the final boss battle, it's also a vehicle gimmick fight. Although I'm not entirely certain you can call a UK helmet and a bunch of springs to be an entirely, vehicle sort of thing. And yes, that right there is the giant flea queen. Not really very, like all of the boss fights, I've said it before, this isn't really a particularly complicated pattern. And it's just a matter of dodge, which can be kind of hard to do with the springs because they screw up your jumping. And kill the flea when it comes down. Hit the queen a few times when she comes down as retaliation for you killing her progeny. And, rinse and repeat until health bar is entirely depleted, which only takes a couple of minutes. Short and sweet is the name of the game here. I still don't know entirely what the hell he's supposed to be shooting at her, but... or why the queen has... I'm pretty certain the same injury noise as every other boss in the game now that I think about it. Yeah, I mean, the queen's even got a crown. Although what a flea needs with a crown, I don't know. Very short boss fight, in theory. And if it wasn't for the theatrics of it all, it'd be quite a bit quicker. But then, do you really want it to be that slow? Not really a huge amount you can say about this. It's as simple as all the other boss fights. I think it's actually easier than a lot of the other ones. And that's it. Like I said, piss easy. Spring your way along to the end, and that's the end of the game. I mean, yes, it's an anticlimactic boss fight, but it's also kind of fun. Although why it's awarding me a continue now after I've finished the actual game, I don't really know. The reasoning behind that evades me. Let's leave it at that. Nice big score bonus, which will take almost as long to count as the actual boss fight did. And that's that. I'm not actually going to cut off now. I'm going to watch... we'll sit here and you can watch the ending while I rant on about what I actually did like about the game. Despite spending the previous 20 videos ripping it a new one every time it did something I didn't like. I am, quite fond of the game. I wouldn't call it a classic, but it's very much an underrated game that didn't get the appreciation it probably deserves. And yes, it's too long to really work without a save system of some sort, which it doesn't have. Slightly difficult in certain areas, mostly cheap difficulty. But it's got a very unique design to it. It doesn't play like any other platformer. It's a very different kind of game. And I suppose you could argue that it's the spiritual predecessor to, say, Rayman and other games. So that's really only the design, not the actual gameplay. I don't think really had all that much influence. But that's because it was underknown and underrated. I was quite fond of it back then as well, but yes, despite hating on it for several hours worth, it is a good game. You should play it. I wouldn't have put all this time in if I didn't think it was at heart, a fun game. And thinking about it, that's pretty much all I've got to say about it. It has its flaws. Now, I've been over them for the last several videos, so you already know that. But it's good. It's a solid game. Deserves more people playing it. And if you think it even looks remotely interesting from these videos, you really should find yourself a copy of ZSNES and a ROM. Have some fun with it. I'd advise against playing it actually on the system, even if you could, because its difficulty does not mesh well with not having a save system, which the original doesn't. Save states are the only way you'll get through this remote sanely. But yeah, in closing, play the goddamn game. It deserves it. Thank you, good night. I have no idea if I'll ever do another one of these, but we'll see. Maybe. So long and good night.